Hello everyone, DM Gashbad here, and welcome back to another part of my solo playthrough of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. We are up to Scenario 4, a Ritual in Stone. Now, the first 5 scenarios in Jaws of the Lion are sort of learn-to-play scenarios. They are teaching you the rules of Gloomhaven as we go. So, for example, in this one, we're adding in the full monster action decks, we're adding in elements. We're no longer using the A and B cards for the character action decks, we're just using the number 1 cards. And we've got objectives. For this scenario, we're going down into this dungeon to stop the cultists from doing their bad stuff, and they've got these summoning stones, and our job is to kill all the enemies and wreck all the stones. These objectives count as obstacles, they can only be damaged in hand-to-hand combat, they have 3 wounds each for a party of 2. And as you can see, I've made some especially for this scenario. I actually made a tutorial video on how to make those if you're interested. For those of you who are new, I'm really more of a miniature gamer than a board gamer, so I've tried to trick myself with Gloomhaven to make more 3-dimensional elements to make it feel more like a miniatures game. So as you can see, I've got my traps, I've got my treasure chest, I've got the obstacles of the boulders and the objectives that I've made. I'm also using Warhammer Fantasy models. These are to replace the card standees as well as the models that you actually get in the Gloomhaven game. They're fine, I just like the GW models a little bit better. So as you can see, I've got Verdia, my Demolitionist, represented by the skink model in the center, as well as Hugo Chasseur, my Hatchet, who I'm using that converted Beastman model as. I've also got a bunch of bad guys. Obviously we've got a bunch of flagellants standing in for the zealots. I went and painted up a flagellant Prophet of Doom for one of the elites, and I've also got the old Dogs of War Wilhelm warrior priest standing in for the other elite zealot. And I've got some stone golems for the first time. I'm actually pretty happy with these conversions. So the stone golems are crypt horrors, GW crypt horrors from the Vampire Count's army. I've taken off all the bone piercings and open wounds and stuff like that, and I've given them helmeted heads from the Ogre Mournfang Cavalry kit. So I've taken those helmeted heads, those ogre helmeted heads, and I've kind of shaved out the ogre faces and just kind of left them hollow in there. I've also used the armored lower legs and shoulder pads from Stormcast Eternals. Cut those off from some of the models I got in the original starter set and stuck them on there, painted them all gray, and I'm actually really happy with how they look. In my Vampire Count's army, the Crypt Horrors are these tomb guardians, these statues that people sometimes make to protect the tombs of dearly departed. The first group I made were more like gargoyles, but these, I think they work pretty well as animated statues, and so I'm real happy with them. But with that out of the way, let's actually take a look at the board. Here we see it all set up. My guys are over on the right. We've got the objective, summoning stones scattered around, as well as some traps and obstacles. We've got 2 normal zealots over on the right. We've got the elite zealot in the center and the stone golem all the way over on the left. When I destroy 2 of the standing stones, I'm going to get another elite zealot and another normal zealot. And then when I destroy the last 2, I'm going to get another stone golem as well as 2 more normal zealots. The town event from the game before gives both my guys a bless card in their decks, which is nice. We also earned ourselves a perk. Hugo has a +2+ wind element card in his deck, and Verdia has an extra +2 card. Both of my characters are carrying a stamina potion. Verdia also has the weathered boots for +1 move, and Hugo has the eagle-eyed goggles. Okay, so here's the deal. The first 3 of these Jaws of the Lion learn-to-play scenarios have been really, really easy. They've been a cakewalk. It would actually be hard to fail most of those scenarios. Not trying to spoil anything for you guys, but this scenario is not like that. This is substantially harder. This is actually the second time I've played the scenario. Not that I failed it the first time, I actually did succeed. It was actually kind of an incredible game. I almost wish I could be showing you that one instead. I ended that game with one of my guys had 1 health remaining, and they both were absolutely down to their last 2 cards. So it was the last turn, one of them, it was their last point of health. It was make or break, and we drew 2 crit attack modifier cards in that round, and we won the scenario. Absolutely glorious. The only problem was, when I went to do the audio, I found out that I had made a couple of major mistakes. First of all, if you're running this yourself, be aware that now that you have the level 1 cards instead of the A and B cards, they are very different. I got caught out a couple of times, especially with the Hatchet's cards. Double Throw is now a lost card. Stopping Power now has range 2 instead of range 3. Just small changes that I didn't anticipate that I messed up on. I actually caught the Double Throw being a lost card as I was playing it, but I activated the card not knowing it was a lost card at first, so it's not what I would have done if I had been aware of that. So these errors, I don't think they made a huge impact, but at the very end I realized that I mixed up my hand and my discard pile for the Demolitionist. And that would have made a difference. So really, I couldn't in good conscience put that game out to you guys. If I was playing this on my own, yeah, absolutely. I'd just roll with the mistakes and keep moving. On the other hand, the nice thing about doing these battle reports is that if you make a mistake, everything you've done beforehand is all recorded for you. You can just go back, put yourself in the exact position you were before, and move on from there. And that's what I'm doing. So this is the second time that I'm playing this game in order to get everything right. And of course, the benefit now is that I know this is hard. I'm not just going to go running around collecting every spare coin. I'm not just going to throw away my lost cards in order to get that extra XP. Man, that first game I made a lot of XP. I got all the coins, I got all the XP. You know the old saying where it's a perfect race, if you run out of gas, your engine overheats and all your tires burst as you cross the finish line? I think I ran a perfect race that first game, except for the rules mistakes. Point is, we're not going to try and do that this game. We're going to try and do it right, and I'm going to be more careful with how I use my guys. So with that in mind, I choose my cards for the first round. Verdia is going to go with Knock Out the Support and Explosive Blitz for an initiative of 19. Hugo is going to go with Power Pitch and Stopping Power. He's going to choose the later initiative of 60, hoping that the Zealot moves up and I can then move in and hit him with the Stopping Power without taking a return attack. Unfortunately, the Zealots are not entirely with the program. They get Calculated Strike for an initiative of 65, meaning that they're still going to go after Hugo, so if he moves up in range of Stopping Power, he can get a return attack at +1 attack, no less. The Golem also isn't entirely doing what I would like him to do. He's way far away from me. I don't have to worry about him for a while, so I would love it if he just had these low movement cards and just sat there for a bit. He's going to get Taxing Advance, though, for an initiative of 28, and that's move +1. So he's going to get moving a little bit more than he normally would. The good news is that it's so strenuous for this poor Golem that he's going to take 1 point of damage when he does it. And that's not really so bad. Putting a little damage on the Golem is nice because they have that shield 1. So first up is Verdia. She's going to move forward a little bit with the bottom action of Knock Out the Support, which also allows her to destroy that obstacle nearby, which gives her Strengthen. Strengthen gives me advantage on any attacks this round and next round. So then I'm going to go and use Explosive Blitz. It's a ranged attack, attack 2, and because I have advantage, I get to draw 2 attack modifier cards. I get a +0 and a -1, so I only do 2 points of damage. I do generate the fire element and gain myself 1 XP for blowing up that obstacle, so not too bad. Next up is the Golem, who trucks up the board with his Taxing Advance and takes his 1 point of damage. And now I've got Hugo. If Hugo moves up, he's going to get attacked by this Zealot, which will be attack 3, which isn't great because both my guys have 8 health, and I realized from my last game that can go pretty quickly. Verdia, although she is within 2 hexes, one of those hexes is a difficult terrain hex, so with the Zealot's move of 1, he's not going to be able to get through that. In the end, I decide to go for it. Hugo moves up to 2 so he can use the Stopping Power, but I'm going to hedge my bets a little bit and I'm going to exhaust his Eagle-Eyed Goggles, so that's going to give me advantage on this attack. Zealots have 6 health to start. It's already taken 2 points of damage from Verdia's Explosive Blitz, so Stopping Power is attack 3. I need to find a +1 attack modifier card. I do draw a +1 and a -1, choose the +1 obviously, so that's going to do 4 points of damage and kills the Zealot for a pretty good round 1. The remaining Zealots get to move forward 1 and we're on to the next round. Verdia is going to go with Piston Punch and the big one for an initiative of 37. Hugo is going to go for Center Mass and Follow Through for an initiative of 24. The Zealots get Boil Blood. They're not going to move, but they've got a ranged attack at attack +1. It's range 2 and causes Muddle. And the Golem gets Runic Draw, which is a little bit of a concern. So it's initiative 28. The Golem is going to be move +1 again, so it's really hopping up the field here. And it's also got a range 3 attack -2 attack, which also has pull 2 and immobilize. So I don't know what he's doing. He's going to reach out and lasso me and draw me in or something like that. So with his move and his range, it's got an effective range of 5 hexes, so I have to be careful about where I end up if I don't want to get roped towards this golem. So first up is Hugo, and Hugo is what you might call well-positioned right now. So first off, he's going to use center mass at that elite zealot. The elite zealots cause wound with all their attacks, so I really don't want to get hit by any of those. So he's going to draw his attack modifier card. He's going to get a -1, so it's only going to do 2 points of damage. But last round I had used the bottom action from Power Pitch to move, and that generated wind for me. So I've got the wind element waning right now, so I'm going to use that up. I'm going to use the bottom action of Follow Through. I'm going to move 2 right into contact with the Zealot, the Elite Zealot, and then I'm going to push 2 and push him right into the trap, which is always fun. It's going to cause 3 points of damage and also get rid of that trap tile, so I don't have to worry about that later in the game. Then I can use that wind element to just hop away a little bit so I'm not in range of the golem. So good round from Hugo. And he wants to do this again at some point, so he's actually going to use his stamina potion to get center mass back into his hand, because that's probably one of his best attack cards. Next up is Mr. Golem. He's just going to move his 2 hexes again. Then next up is Verdia. Verdia is going to use the bottom action of the big one to move and collect that coin that the Zealot dropped when it died. And then Demolitionist is going to demolish. Verdia is going to attack the objective with Piston Punch. We're going to consume the fire element to give ourselves +1 attack. And we are still strengthened, so we get advantage on that. We get a +0 and -1, so that is just enough to destroy this objective. And consuming that fire when we use Piston Punch also gets us another piece of XP. Finally, we have the Zealots, who are not moving and are also out of range. Something I didn't realize as I was playing, because I didn't read their card carefully enough, was that if Verdia hadn't used that fire element on her attack, they would have been able to consume it to get +2 range, which would have put me in range of a bunch of attacks. So, kind of lucked out there. I used that fire at just the right time. New round, Verdia is going to go with 1-2 punch and explode for initiative of 28. Hugo is going to go for center mass again and second wind for initiative of 18. The Zealots are going to go on 77 with Vile Scourge. That's move -1, attack -1 with poison. And the Golem draws one of my favorite cards, Sacrificial Hurl, for initiative of 72. That means that it doesn't move, it's got a range 3 attack at +1 attack, but because it's throwing a chunk of itself at one of my guys, it's going to cause itself 2 points of damage if it goes and throws that attack. So up first we have Hugo. Hugo is going to use center mass on that Zealot. I really want him dead. Unfortunately, I draw my -2 card, so I only do 1 point of damage. I then just touch forward a little bit with second wind. If I could have killed that elite Zealot, I would have had an extra +2 move. I would have been move 5 and also gained myself an XP point. But of course, as it is, the elite Zealots have 8 health. I did another 1, he's up to 6, so he's got 2 health remaining. So once again, I've got one of my guys in a position where they can rush forward and attack, but they will be looking at counterattacks. And again, I'm going to go for it. Verdia is going to move forward 4 with the bottom action of Explode and use 1-2 punch on that elite Zealot. That does mean that I'm close enough for the normal Zealots to attack me with Vile Scourge, and the first game I played, Verdia got hit with the Vile Scourge, and that poison was just a pain. I took a bunch of extra damage from having that condition on me for a really long time. So I'm not looking forward to have that happen again, but my other option would be to put myself in range of the Golem, which is attack 4 right now, I really don't want that to happen, or to waste my round. Now, of course, the threat here is that 1-2 punch is an attack 2 followed by an attack 1. If I get a bad set of draws on this, I might not kill this elite Zealot, and then I'm really going to get hit by a bunch of people. But I do, on my first punch, get the +2 attack modifier card, so that's 4 damage right off the bat, kills the elite Zealot. I would have obviously preferred to have killed him on my second punch, then I get an extra XP for that, but, you know, I don't want to complain too much. The Golem is next, it's out of range, and then we go on to the Zealot. It's going to move up and draw a -1 attack modifier card, so it does no damage to Verdia, but it does inflict that poison condition, which isn't great. We're on to a new round. Verdia is going to choose Crushing Weight and Wind Up for an initiative of 22. Hugo is going to go with Disorienting Barrage and Retrieval for an initiative of 46. The Zealot is going to get Unholy Flame for an initiative of 82. So it's not moving, but it does have a ranged attack at range 3 and attack +1, which is pretty good. The Golem is going to get runic feedback for an initiative of 10, which is fine. 10 is really fast, but it doesn't move, it doesn't attack. All it does is it sits there, and if you attack it, you're going to take 3 points of damage. I've got other things to do. I do not want to attack this thing while it's got runic feedback up. And since it goes first, it immediately puts that up. Next will be Verdia, and I get to use Crushing Weight on the Zealot. Crushing Weight is my favorite Demolitionist card. It's attack 3, but it's attack +2 and an XP if you're attacking someone who is next to a wall. So that's a meaty attack 5. On top of that, my attack modifier card is my other +2. That's 7 points of damage to the Zealot. I just cave that thing's head in. I then use the default move action from the bottom of a wind up to move 2 to put me into contact with objective because I want to wreck that next turn and also get myself a coin. In preparation for this, Verdia is also going to use her stamina potion and get 1-2 punch back into her hand. Hugo has his turn now. He is not interested in throwing any axes at this golem now that it has runic feedback up, so he is going to use a bunch of default actions. He's going to default move over to the objective, and he's going to default attack it, and he draws a +1 attack modifier card, so he does 3 points of damage and wrecks the rock. That, of course, means that we spawn an extra elite zealot and a normal zealot. Fortunately, none of those guys are moving, and they're not in range, so we go on to the next round. Verdia is going to go with 1-2 punch and implode for an initiative of 66. Hugo is going to go with the favorite and close cuts for 17. The zealots get calculated strike for an initiative of 65, which is just fine. They're move -1. The slower they go, the happier I'm going to be. The golem gets hasty assault, so it's going to be move +1, attack -1 for an initiative of 51. The golem is attack -1 right now, but even so, Hugo doesn't really want to tangle with him. He is just going to deploy the favorite card. If you don't remember, the favorite, you put that card out, so it's essentially lost. You put a token on it, and after you do an attack, you can put the token on the model that you attacked for +3 attack. And then Hugo's just going to hop back to avoid the golem. Looks like I mix up the order here a little bit, but it doesn't make any difference. I have the zealots moving up 1. Really, the golem should have gone first, but it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. Next, I have Verdia attacking the objective. Again, golem should have gone first, but it wouldn't have been in range anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with a 1-2 punch on the stone objective. I draw my -2 on the first attack, so it does 0 points of damage, and then I draw a +1 for 2 points of damage on my second attack, so I don't actually wreck the stone, so bad work for the Demolitionist. However, it does mean that I get an XP for attacking the same target with 1-2 punch. Finally, I get around to moving that golem up like I should have. Hugo is going to short rest because we've got a golem chasing after us and I only have 1 card in hand. I lose close cuts, which is, I don't know, I kind of like that card, but oh well. Verdia is completely out of cards, but she's going to long rest this next round, which means she's got an initiative of 99. Hugo is going to go with center mass and retrieval for initiative of 24. The zealots get drain life, initiative 27, move +0, attack -1, range 2, generates night, and any point of damage that they cause, they heal. None of them are hurt, so the heal doesn't matter. However, having an effective range of 4 hexes with the move means that I gotta be careful about these guys. Especially that elite, because remember, each of his attacks causes a wound. The golem, for its part, gets an initiative of 64 with nothing special. Move +0, attack +0. First up, Hugo is going to go, and he is going to use center mass on that golem bearing down on him. He draws a +0 attack modifier card, but he chooses to use his favorite, so that's 6 points of damage, minus the shield of 1 for the golem, down to 5. That's not bad, so the golem's up to 6 damage out of 10. Still not interested in getting punched by the thing, so I just move over to hang out by Verdia, pick up the coin right there, and ask why she's taking a nap in front of the summoning stone we're supposed to be destroying. The zealots then go in advance 2 and are thankfully out of range with their drain life, and the golem pops forward its movement of 1. Verdia ends her long rest, which means that she heals 2, or she would have, but she's got poison, so she just removes the poison condition, and loses the card Knock Out the Support. I get to choose during a long rest, and that's a card that I just don't see myself using very much. So, new round. Verdia is going to go with Piston Punch and 1-2 Punch, just a very punchy round for her. Hugo is going to go with Follow Through and Second Wind. The Zealots get Drain Life again. Drain Life is one of those cards that you shuffle the Monster Behavior deck after you draw it. And so yeah, you can get it twice in a row. And the Golem is just going to sit there and use Runic Feedback again. And of course it does that immediately at initiative 10. Next up is Hugo, and Hugo has a decision to make. Again, this golem sitting there being a threat, but having that runic feedback up is a problem. I was really going to do follow through on it. It's attack 2, but it's +2 attack with an experience if it already has my favorite token, which he does. So it's a good opportunity at some good damage. Unfortunately, I don't think runic feedback seems to work like retaliate in the basic Gloomhaven game. In the basic Gloomhaven game, I believe if you kill something, you don't get the damage from any retaliations. But as far as I can tell, even if I kill this golem and I have to draw a +1 in order to do it, I'm still going to take the damage. In the end, I decide it's worth it. I want to put some good damage on this golem. So Hugo goes and uses follow through on the golem, and I draw my bless card. Remember that? It was in my deck from doing the town event from the game before. Anyway, that's great. I kill the golem, I get an experience point. I do take the 3 damage in return. It also means that now that I've killed a model this round, I am +2 move and another XP for using the bottom action of second wind. So I move all the way around the objective onto the left, getting far away from those zealots and their dumb drain life. The poor zealots are next. They stumble forward, very disappointed that they're out of range and cannot drain any life from my guys. We move on to Verdia. She's got that 1-2 punch again. We draw a +0 attack modifier for the first punch. We destroy it, which is fine, no XP for me. I then use a default move with the bottom action of Piston Punch, and I use my Weathered Boots to go 3 hexes and claim that treasure chest, which gets us a mana potion. I knew that from the game before. I don't see this being worth much of anything. You only get 1 small item in this game, and bringing a mana potion, I just don't see it. But whatever. Goes in the bag. And so now I've got to bring up battle goals. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but now we're doing battle goals. They're these little cards that you draw with small objectives that you can do to get yourself a check mark. You get enough check marks, you get a perk on your character sheet. They're very useful. I really want to achieve these. Unfortunately, I didn't get the best draw. Hugo got a pretty good one. Hugo got Shirker, which means that he gets his check mark if he manages to kill a model that is not adjacent to him while he's adjacent to someone else. It's a great one for a hatchet to have. Verdia, on the other hand, gets Pickpocket, which is the opposite. Pickpocket you can only achieve if you use a loot action while you are adjacent to 2 other models. Verdia only has 1 card with a loot action, and it doesn't allow you to move while you do it, so it's really hard to engineer a situation where you can do it. However, I am in that position right now. There's a coin within 1 hex of me, so I can loot it, and I'm adjacent to 2 enemies. So it's a fantastic time for me to do that. The only problem is that due to poor planning, I just played that card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to short rest right now. I don't need to, but I'm gonna sacrifice a card basically to get 1-2 punch back into my hand, this loot card back into my hand, so that I can achieve my battle goal. And hope they don't draw the wrong enemy behavior card and mess me up. The only problem is I've only got 2 cards in the discard pile right now, and one of them is the one I can't lose. So no big deal. There's a 50% chance that I might take a point of damage and have to draw the other one. In the end, I luck out, I lose Piston Punch, and I get 1-2 punch back into my hand. So everyone got that? Here we go. New round, Verdia is going to go with Crushing Weight and 1-2 punch for initiative of 22. Hugo is going to go with Power Pitch and Stopping Power for initiative of 35. No more golems right now to deal with, but the zealots get 65 Calculated Strike. Not what you really want when they're right next to you. They're move -1 attack +1, but they are initiative 65, so I have some options to deal with them, hopefully. Verdia is up first, and the plan is set in motion. We're going to use Crushing Weight right off the bat because no reason not to. I'm not going to kill this elite zealot in 1 hit even if I draw my double. I do get a +1 on my attack modifier card that gives it 4 points of damage, which is nice. And then I use the bottom action of 1-2 punch. That's an attack 1 on the zealot. I draw a -1 attack modifier card, so I do 0 damage, but I do loot the coin and earn myself that battle goal, which I'm very proud of. It's not easy to do. Hugo is up next, and I really want this elite zealot dead. It's going to be attack 4 this round, causing wound. I don't want to take that. So I'm going to use Power Pitch. Power Pitch is a lost card, range 3, attack 6, gives me 2 XP, which is nice. I go and throw that at the Elite Zealot. I get a +2 attack modifier card, which is great. So that guy is dead, and I get the XP and all that fun stuff. The card is lost. I use the bottom action of Stopping Power, the default move, to move up to behind Verdia. We then go on to the one remaining Zealot who is going to attack with attack 3 on Verdia. Unfortunately, he draws a crit, which is going to do 6 points of damage to Verdia. 6 out of 8. I can't take that. So, although it's painful, although I just lost a card from my short rest, I'm going to lose another one. I lose Wind Up. In theory, Wind Up is kind of a cool card, but I just never seem to find the right time to use it. So it's gone, and I'm just kind of burning through Verdia's cards right now. I've already lost 3, and she starts with a pretty small hand of 9. New round, Verdia is going to go with Implode and Explode for initiative of 28. Hugo is going to be initiative 51 with Disorienting Barrage and Double Throw, and the Zealot gets an initiative of 46 with Boil Blood. Verdia is up first. We're going to try and wreck this fool with our Implode. It's a nice attack 3, and we draw our Null, so 0 damage caused. It's not what I needed right now. We use the bottom action of Explode to just move out of range. That leaves Hugo in range for the Boiling of the Blood. Fortunately, the Zealot draws its -2 attack modifier card, so it just causes 1 point of damage, but also muddles poor Hugo. These were the last 2 cards that Hugo had to use, so we are stuck with Disorienting Barrage and Double Throw. I'm going to use Disorienting Barrage. It's only attack 1, and while I'm muddled, I'm at disadvantage. I draw a +1 and a -1. 1 -1 makes 0 points of damage, but I do muddle that dumb Zealot straight back. The reason why I didn't just move up and do a default attack, which would have been attack 2, was because I want to use my default movement from Double Throw to go over and pick up the coin that the Golem dropped when it died, as well as my favorite token, because that thing is really useful. Hugo then has to short rest, so we lose a random card, and we lose Second Wind, which again hurts because that's a really nice one. But onward and downward. Verdia goes with Explosive Blitz and the big one for initiative of 19. Hugo goes with Stopping Power and Follow Through for initiative of 35. The Zealot also gets Hasty Assault, move +1, attack -1, also on 35, but because we are big brave heroes, we go first. Verdia is going to start off with using Explosive Blitz on that Zealot, and I draw my crit for that one, so that's real nice. That's 4 points of damage to that Zealot, almost dead. I'm then going to move with the bottom action of the big one. So I move into contact with the Zealot, and with that central obstacle, I blow up the obstacle, get myself an XP, because that's what Demolitionists like doing, and I also bless myself, so a bless card goes into my stack. Just barely beating the Zealot's initiative, Hugo is up next, and he is going to use Stopping Power. Unfortunately, now we draw our Null, so that really nice attack does 0 damage. But I have a plan. I am going to use the bottom action of Follow Through. I've been lucking out on some of these situations that I find myself in. He is going to move over into contact with that Zealot and then do a push 2. So he moves around and then just kicks that Zealot into a trap, doing the last points of damage to kill him off. So no action for no Zealots. Verdia has to short rest and loses the card Explode. New round, and it's all good guys. Verdia goes for 1-2 punch and the big one for initiative of 37. Hugo gets center mass and retrieval for initiative of 46. The idea is Verdia is going to go and blow up this objective, the final one. The last couple of bad guys are going to show up, and Hugo is going to go and try and pick off anyone that moves too close. So in accordance with the plan, Verdia moves up with the bottom action of the big one, and then uses 1-2 punch, and on the first shot gets the bless card. So 4 points of damage pops the stone. We have done that part of the mission, and now we have spawned the last set of 3 enemies, the Golem and 2 normal Zealots. For the monster behaviors, the Zealots get Drain Life, initiative 27, so that's move +0, attack -1, range 2. And the Golem gets Hasty Assault for move +1 and attack -1. Those are all bad, because that means that they are all in range of Verdia and able to attack this round. The Zealots get to go before Hugo does, so they are both going to move up and attack Verdia. Their attack -1, which was from that attack 1. One of them gets a +0, one of them gets a -1, so they do a total of 1 point of damage and generate Night, which isn't terrible, really. Hugo is up next. He uses center mass on the lead zealot, but draws a -1 attack modifier card, so only does 2 points of damage. Then he moves up with the bottom action of retrieval. That is a move 1, loot 1, and he does manage to grab 2 coins with that. Still, that does leave the Golem to go and thunder in against Verdia, but he draws the null, so no damage from him, which is just fine with me. We're on to a new round. Verdia goes with Explosive Blitz and Implode for an initiative of 19. Hugo goes with Disorienting Barrage and Double Throw for 51. Both sets of enemies get Hasty Assault. The Zealots going on 35, the Golem going on 51. Hasty Assault is one of those shuffle cards, so again, for those Golems, it can appear 2 times in a row. Still, Verdia gets to go first, so hasty as they are, they're not hastier than me. Going to use the default move with Explosive Blitz, and then we're going to punch the other unwounded zealot with Implode. We draw the -1 attack modifier, so we only do 2 points of damage. Why attack the healthy zealot instead of the injured one? Because I am still trying to achieve Hugo's battle goal. He needs to kill something that he's not adjacent to with a ranged attack while he's adjacent to someone else. And these zealots are the easiest thing to do that to, so I don't want to kill them off too soon. Am I playing with fire on this by letting these guys live a little bit longer? Yeah, probably. And so here's where I pay the price for this. The zealots are now going to go and they're both going to attack Verdia because she has the fastest initiative. So the first one gets a +1 attack modifier for a total of 2 damage. That's not too bad, but the other one then moves in and draws its crit. So Verdia's drawn 2 crits against her this game. At least with Hasty Assault, these things are at -1 attack, so the crit only does 2 points of damage. Still, Verdia is down to 3 and the Golem has yet to go. But now it's Hugo's turn and it's time for the plan to swing into action. We are going to move left with the default bottom action from Double Throw, and we are going to use Disorienting Barrage, which is attack 1, target 3 with Muddle. The most important target is that center zealot, because if I kill him, then I earn my battle goal. Thankfully, I draw a +1 attack modifier card, and I use my favorites token to do a total of 5 points of damage and kill that dude off. So both of my guys have achieved their battle goals, and I'm feeling pretty good. Unfortunately for the remainder of the Disorienting Barrage throws, I get a -1 attack modifier for the Golem, which means that I do 0 damage, -1 really if you count his shield. And then I'm at disadvantage with this zealot in front of me. I draw a +1 and a -2, gotta choose the -2, so no damage to that guy as well. Thankfully they are both muddled. But now it's the Golem's turn. We know there's not a crit in here anymore, and he is -1 attack, so down to 2 right now. So he plows into Verdia, who's, again, only got 3 health left, and he has to draw 2 cards because he's at disadvantage because he's muddled, and he gets a +1 and a -2, so 0 damage this round. So, teamwork. We both have to short rest because we are both out of cards. Verdia loses Implode, and Hugo loses Retrieval. So now we're properly in the end game here. Verdia has 4 cards left. Hugo has 5. Verdia has 3 health left. Hugo has 4. It's just going to be a race to see if we can take away the remaining health of these monsters before we run out of either health or cards. New round, and Verdia's going with Explosive Blitz and 1-2 Punch for initiative of 19. Hugo's got Center Mass and Stopping Power for initiative of 24. The Zealot gets initiative 85, which is nice, but it's Unholy Flame, so range 3, attack +1. And the Golem, again, Calculated Strike, initiative 90. It's not going to move, but it is also at +1 attack. So Verdia has 2 things that she needs to do. She needs to kill that Zealot so it doesn't get to Unholy Flame her, and it needs to get away from the Golem. So first thing first, we're going to punch the Zealot. So first punch, attack 2, get a +1 attack modifier card for a total of 3 damage. And then for the second one, attack 1, we get a +0. That's still 1 point of damage. That's just enough. That kills the Zealot, gets me an extra XP, and I get to move away with the bottom action of Explosive Blitz and get a coin, and most importantly, get away from that Golem. So that's it for the Zealots. It's now down to see what Hugo can do against this Golem. He's going to use Stopping Power. He's going to draw an attack +1 modifier card, so with the Golem shield, that's going to do 3 points of damage. He's then going to use the bottom action of Center Mass. Center Mass has a pretty good top action, but I have been really appreciating the bottom action of this as well. So that's going to let Hugo move up to where that Center Zealot was. He's going to collect his favorite token, and he's going to collect that coin, and then he's going to kick that Golem away from him. Just get out of here. No calculated strike for you. So Golem can't move. Round is done. On to our new cards. Verdia is going to go with Crushing Weight and the big one. Hugo is going to go with Follow Through and Double Throw. The Golem is going to get Runic Feedback. So Golem initiative 10 does the Runic Feedback. Verdia is next, followed by Hugo. So now we have another problem. This Runic Feedback is just coming at all the worst times. Verdia is up first, but if she attacks this Golem, she is going to die. She only has 3 health left. We also only have 4 cards left, and we have to short rest at the end of this, so that's not great either. But I don't really have a choice, so I'm just going to use the bottom action of the big one. I'm going to move over to the Golem and to that obstacle. I'm going to blow it up, get myself another XP, and bless myself, and that's all I can do this round. So it's up to Hugo to put some damage on this Golem. The good news is that he is well positioned to do so. So he is going to use the lost action of the bottom part of Double Throw. He has more cards than Verdia, so, I figure that's okay. Plus it's an XP. And that is going to double the value of my next attack. That attack, unfortunately, is only Follow Through. It's only attack 2. But if I use my favorite, well, that'll be more than enough to kill this guy off. Unless I draw the null, which I do. Draw the null, take 3 damage, lose a card. Golem is still alive. Both my guys have to short rest now. We are both down to 3 cards after we lose this one. Hugo loses Stopping Power, which hurts. Verdia uses Explosive Blitz. It's coming down to the wire again. So, new round again. Verdia is going to go with 1-2 Punch and Crushing Weight for initiative of 22. Hugo's going with Center Mass and Disorienting Barrage for initiative of 24. The Golem's on 51 with Hasty Assault. So, Verdia is up first, and we're going to use the bottom action of 1-2 Punch. Just might as well. It's attack 1. With a good card, I can do something. I draw my null. So, no damage there. Still could be worse. I'm next going to go with Crushing Weight. That's attack 3. I draw my crit. So, null, crit, I'll take it. So, double damage up to 6 minus the 1 for the shield does 5 points of damage. All of a sudden, we're looking like we're in much better shape. We're going to go straight over to Hugo. Hugo could use his favorite with Center Mass, do a pile of damage there. So long as he didn't draw the null, he would take it out. But instead, we're going to go for the sure thing. We're going to use the bottom last action of Disorienting Barrage. We're going to move 2 hexes directly into contact with the Golem, and then we're going to inflict 1 point of damage going straight through the shield. Then we're going to move another one around the side of the Golem, inflict another 2 points of damage. 3 points of damage is more than that Golem can take. It dies. Scenario is 1. I lose the card, but I earn another XP. That was brutal. Low on health, low on cards, but victorious. Both collected 6 XP plus get a checkmark for achieving their battle goal. Hugo got 6 coins. Verdia got 4 coins plus a mana potion. For successfully completing the mission, we also get a second mana potion. More importantly, we get an additional checkmark, so that's nice. We're just wrapping up now, doing the final bits of housekeeping. We go and do a city event. There is a test of strength, so we draw an attack modifier card to see if we win money or lose money. Unsurprisingly, Verdia, little scrawny Quatryl / skink that she is, she loses and loses 5 gold. Hugo wins because he's big burly beastman / Inox, gets 5 gold. We shop around. Hugo manages to buy Verdia a heater shield. I just feel like she's going to need some armor if she's going to be the one getting punched in close combat. And that's it. This scenario has got to be a cold splash of water for a lot of people playing through these intro scenarios. In fact, after I went and found out that I had messed up that first time, I watched a couple of YouTube channels that also went through this, and I think they both lost. This may be the first playthrough video of Jaws of the Lion where we actually won this scenario, and it was close. Also, I'm sorry about this, but everyone that seems to do this seems to choose the Hatchet and the Demolitionist. Gloomhaven's fault for making them the coolest characters. Aside from that, if you have any questions, observations, concerns, leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next one.